Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
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 Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpa Taruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, so we welcome all of you to our weekly Bhagavad Gita classes. Thank you all very much for joining. We have with us here Beena Dadlani, Auntie Nita, Ayush, Dipti Adnani. Then we have Durga Prasad, Hema Bangari, Karuna Jadwani, Khushbu, Manju, Mahek Bakshani, N.C. Venkatchari. My parents are there. We have Ranjit Das, Ritu Lalwani, Shri Radhe Hari Devidasi, Kirti Lata. Okay. So in the previous class, we started with chapter number 12. The title of chapter 12 is
Devotional Service.
Devotional Service. It's the last chapter in the middle section of Gita, or in the Bhakti section of the Bhagavad Gita. So this chapter deals with devotional service. We saw how Arjuna begins the chapter by inquiring, what is more perfect? To worship the impersonal Brahman, or to engage in your devotional service? That is, to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, of God as a person. So personalism or impersonalism? This is a very, very hot topic, even in the modern times. So Krishna immediately he is answering without leaving any shadow of doubt. No? What does he say? Krishna says, those who fix their minds on my personal form are are always engaged in worshipping me with great transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. So Krishna is saying that those who worship the Lord as a person, no? Those who are fixing their minds on Krishna, on his personal form, they are the most perfect. Now, what about those who are worshipping the impersonal Brahman? Those are worshipping the Lord as only a Brahman effulgence, no? Krishna says that those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by these different ways, controlling the various senses, being equally disposed to everyone, by being engaged in the welfare of all, such people also achieve me, but how? At last they achieve me. So it takes many, many more lifetimes for them to attain perfection. It cannot be completed in one lifetime. But bhakti is so glorious that if one sincerely follows this bhakti yoga process, then in one lifetime itself, one can go back home, back to Godhead. So what is the problem? Krishna says in the 5th shloka. He says that for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, for them, advancement is very troublesome. Advancement is very troublesome. And it is very, very difficult to make progress. Very difficult for such people to make progress. But then Krishna says, those who worship me, giving up all their activities, being devoted to me without deviation, engage in devotional service, which is the title of the chapter, always meditating upon me, no, having fixed their minds upon me, Krishna says, for them, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So Krishna personally takes charge of his devotees. He personally delivers them. So he very quickly, that's why we say Bhakti Yoga, the process is so powerful, so potent, that within one lifetime, one can go back home, back to God. So he's a swift deliverer. Now today, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we'll come to the next section of chapter 12. So this section, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, this is actually the most important section of this chapter. Here Krishna is giving a step-by-step progression, starting with the highest. No, he says that this is what you should do. If you can't do this, if you can't do the best thing, then you do the next best thing. Like that, he's giving us options, and he's going to take us through through different scales of worship. Who can read today? Durga Prasad, can you read?
Thank you.
I can read today.
Okay, thank you. So we see in this section the progressive stages of devotion. So Krishna is taking us through different stages, starting from the highest. So let us hear the shloka first.
मय्येव मन आधत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः.
So she will read, Mataji?
Yes, she's reading. Because when you spoke, your voice got cut. I could get only a part of what you spoke, so I didn't understand what you said.
If he wants, he can read, no problem.
Okay, okay. You read, Mataji, no problem. Hare Krishna.
Translation. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt.
So what is Krishna saying? Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt. So see, Krishna is using the word me thrice, no? Mai eva mana adatsva, mai buddhim niveshaya, nivashishyasi mai eva. So he's using the word me, my 3 times in this verse. So this is the highest level that one can reach, one should attain, one should at least try to attain. No, fix your mind upon me, engage all your intelligence in me. So when we fix our mind and our intelligence on Krishna, then what is the result of that? Krishna says, why should we do this? Why should we fix our mind upon him? Why should we engage our intelligence in him? Because by that, what is the result we will get? What does Krishna say? What does Krishna say? What will we get?
You will live in me always.
So the result of fixing our mind, engaging our intelligence in Krishna is that Krishna says, you will live in me always. And is there any doubt about it?
No.
No.
No,
Krishna
without
says,
doubt.
without a doubt, without a doubt. So most certainly, if we fix our mind and engage our intelligence upon Krishna, then we will definitely live with Krishna, which means that no more um, no more birth and death. No more birth, death, disease, and old age. So how should we fix our mind? How should we fix our intelligence in Krishna? See, because one may argue that even Kamsa, he was always fixing his mind and intelligence in Krishna. Because ever since Kamsa heard that Devaki's 8th son is going to kill him, he was always thinking about Krishna. No, he was using all his intelligence by sending so many demons and plotting and thinking of so many ways by which he can kill Krishna. So even Kamsa had his mind fixed upon Krishna. Even he used his intelligence. He was engaging his intelligence in Krishna. But is that how we should engage our mind and intelligence in Krishna? Is that the recommended way? Is that how it should be done?
No.
No. We should think about Krishna, fix our mind upon Krishna, fix our intelligence on Krishna in a favorable way. What Kamsa did was in an unfavorable way. So in transcendental service, in love, out of love and affection, one must fix the mind upon Krishna, engage the intelligence in Krishna. And then as a result of that, Krishna says, you will live in me always without a doubt. So this is the highest level. But now one may say that I am not able to fix my mind and intelligence upon Krishna. I am not in that stage where I can, out of love, be able to constantly think about Krishna. See, when you love someone, automatically that person is on your mind, and you're using your intelligence. For example, a mother loves the child, and even if the mother is not physically present with the child, the mother is always thinking about the child. What is my child doing? Is he fine? Is he okay? Has he eaten? Always the mother is always thinking about the child out of love and affection. So like that, if one has love for Krishna, then one automatically will fix the mind and engage the intelligence in the Lord. But one may say that I'm not on that stage of having that love and emotion for the Lord. So then what can be done? What can be done? Then Krishna says, okay, if you can't do that, then do the next best thing. What is the next best thing? Let's see.
अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय.
Translation. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principle of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me.
So what is Krishna saying? That if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, without See, because here Krishna is saying, just fix your mind upon me, engage all your intelligence in me. But one may say that I'm not able to do that. So Krishna is saying, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, if there is distraction, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. So do some sadhana, put it into practice. So when we chant 16 rounds, when we are following the four regulative principles, what we are doing is we are trying to do this. We are following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. Do it as a practice, day in and day out, whether you like it or you don't like it. Just do it because you have to do it. The love is not spontaneous. It's not directly flowing from the heart. When one begins Bhakti Yoga process, it may not be out of spontaneous love. One may be at the level of chanting 16 rounds only because I have committed to my spiritual master that I have to chant 16 rounds every day. So therefore, I am chanting 16 rounds every day. So it's not coming out of love and affection. No, it is not spontaneous. So Krishna is saying, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, because the more we practice, the more we can perfect it. Everything comes with practice. Everything comes with practice. So irrespective of whether we like it or not, doesn't matter. Still we chant our rounds. Still we follow the four regulative principles. Like that, as we do slowly, we will come to the stage of spontaneous love. We have given this example before. We say that Krishna, not we, but Krishna says that if you eat anything without offering it to me, then you're eating only sin. Okay. So now Krishna says this. So what I should do, if I have to follow what he's saying, if I have to put it into practice, see, because knowledge is one thing and application of the knowledge is a whole different thing. So now Krishna says that if you eat anything without offering to me, you are eating only sin. So, okay, now I want to put this into practice. So therefore, now what I have to do, I have to prepare food with the mentality that I'm cooking for Krishna. So when I cook for Krishna, obviously I'm going to cook that which Krishna likes. I cannot cook that which I like. So I cook something that Krishna likes. So of course I have to cook without onion and garlic. I have to cook vegetarian food. I have to use the first class ingredients in cooking. Okay, now after I have already cooked, I'm very, very hungry, but I still cannot eat. First, I have to offer it to the Lord. I put it in the Lord's plate. I put a tulsi leaf. I chant the mantras and I request the Lord, oh my dear Lord Krishna, please accept this offering. So now that after Krishna has eaten, then I can eat the remnants. Okay. Now let's say in the beginning stage, I'm trying to put this into practice, but there is difficulty. I don't have the spontaneous love for Krishna. I'm not thinking that, oh my dear Lord Krishna, he's hungry. It's time for lunch. I have to give him something to eat. I'm not thinking like that. But because I want to put it into practice, therefore I start practicing it. Now, slowly, gradually, as I go on offering day in and day out, as I go on offering every day, then automatically over a period of time, I fall in love with my deities. I fall in love with Krishna. So that is bound to happen. So when we follow the regulative principles, then over a period of time, we can develop love for Krishna. So Krishna is saying that, okay, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. Chant, 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 and you will become a perfect chanter. So then as a result of that, what will happen, Krishna says? Is there any benefit of following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga? What will happen
This
as
way
a
you
result?
develop a desire
Yes,
to
in
attain
this way, you develop a desire to attain me, Krishna is
me.
saying. So when we follow the principles of Bhakti Yoga, then we can develop the desire to attain me. So if we have the desire, if we have a sincere desire, if we put in our best effort, then Krishna will do whatever we are lacking. So see here, in the previous Shloka, Krishna is saying, you fix your mind and intelligence upon me. So there is no deviation. Your mind is fully focused upon Krishna. Your intelligence, engage all your intelligence in me. So this is 100% surrender. And because of that, Krishna says, you will live in me always. So that's the result. Here, Krishna is saying that if you can't do that, then you follow the sadhana bhakti. Follow the principles of you follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. And as a result of that, what will happen? You will develop a desire to attain me. So at least we have developed the desire to attain me. We are on track. See, from the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how Krishna consciousness or love for Krishna is not an external imposition. It is there in the heart for each and every living entity. It is dormant. It's there, but it is lying dormant. So all we have to do is, if we practice sadhana bhakti, it can be revived. We can revive our lost relationship with the Lord. It is not something that we are artificially imposing upon us. It is already there. No, the love for Krishna is already there, because Krishna is already there in the heart as the Paramatma. No, we are parts and parcels of Krishna. Krishna is our Father. We are His children. So the love is not an external imposition. It is dormant in each and every one of us. It's just that now our heart is contaminated by material association. No, we have associated with matter for so many lifetimes that now we have even forgotten who we are. We have forgotten that we are spirit soul. We begin to identify with the body that we have. We begin to identify that we are man, woman, we are Indian American, we are rich, poor, we are young, old. All these are bodily identity. We are doctors, engineers. These are all bodily identification. So heart is contaminated by material associations since time immemorial. So therefore, that love is covered by contamination. But it is not an external imposition. It's not an artificial imposition. So as soon as we take to the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, we can revive our lost relationship with Krishna. So what are the qualifications? Who can practice the regulative principles? Anyone can practice. There are no rules and regulations. No rules and regulations. Anyone who has 2 ears and a mouth, he can chant, right? When we chant, we use our tongue to recite the mantras, and then we hear attentively. When we hear what we are chanting, automatically we are able to focus on the sound vibration. So is there any guarantee of success? There is surety of love of God. So success is guaranteed. It is guaranteed. It is surely going to happen. If one does the experiment correctly, he is bound to get the result. If one is not getting the result, then somewhere we are not doing the experiment in the proper way. Somewhere we are making mistakes. Somewhere we are committing offenses. If you feel that you are chanting from so many years and you're not able to get any results, then somewhere you have to check, no, somewhere I'm going wrong. Where probably we need to go through the list of offenses, and probably we are committing some offenses to the holy name. So if you do the experiment correctly, definitely you will get the desired result. See this from the Srimad Bhagavatam. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances within his heart, words and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So the purpose, Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Sridhara Swami explains in his commentary that just as a legitimate son has to simply remain alive to gain an inheritance from his father, one who simply remains alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the personality of Godhead. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. So all that a son has to do to gain the inheritance from his father is that he has to be alive. That's all. Any other requirements is there? No. Legally, just that he has to be alive. So because only to a living person, the inheritance can be given. In the same way, we keep ourselves alive by following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. When we follow the regulative principles, when we chant our rounds, when we do not engage in meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling, then we are keeping ourselves alive in Krishna consciousness. And because we keep ourselves alive in Krishna consciousness, then we become eligible to receive that inheritance. What is the inheritance that we get from Krishna? To receive the mercy of the personality of Godhead. So that way we will be most definitely promoted to the kingdom of God. So we keep ourselves alive by following the regulative principles. If we are not following the 4 regulative principles, then we are not even a human being. No, we are not even a human being, because human life means that we have to follow these 4 regulative principles. It is only in the animalistic kingdom that They do not follow these rules and regulations. So Mahaprabhu, he describes the process of devotional service to Sri Sanatan Goswami, and he lists 64 items in regulative devotional service. So this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 22. You can read in detail. So he lists 64 items of devotional service. These 64 are divided like this: 20 items of primary importance. So what are these 20 items of primary importance? First 10 are those that we should do. The next 10 are what we should not do. So 10 items to accept, 10 items to avoid. So these 20 items are of primary importance. Then from 21 to 59 are other additional items of sadhana bhakti, what we should practice. And then after that, he picks his top 5, the 5 most effective items of sadhana bhakti. See here, we will not go through all of them. You can go through them when we share the slides in the group. But if you see, number 1 is accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. So that is number 1. Then becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service from him. Obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. Following in the footsteps of great Acharya under the direction of the spiritual master. Inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance in Krishna consciousness. So the first 5 items here are connected to the spiritual master. Just see the importance of accepting a bona fide spiritual master. So anyway, these are the things that one must do. See here, observing the fasting day on Ekadasi is also there. Then what we should not do. One should rigidly give up the company of non-devotees. This is the first item in what we should not do. The first item is what we should avoid the company of non-devotees. So like that, there are other 10 items on what we should not do. And then you have the other items. And then the top 5. What are the top 5? Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathura Vas, Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana. So what are these 5 items? Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha means one should associate with the sadhus, associate with the devotees. Then Nama Kirtan. One should chant the holy name. Nama Kirtan, chanting the holy name. Then comes Bhagavat Shravan, to hear the Bhagavatam. Now, Bhagavatam, it can be Bhagavad Gita or it can be Chaitanya Charitamrita or any scripture. But the point is, we should hear from the glorified, we should hear or read or study from the scriptures. And if we are hearing anybody from anyone, any transcendental sound vibration, it should be always from a bona fide person. Always you should hear from a devotee of the Lord. If we are going to hear from professional chanters, we may get some information, but it will not lead to a transformation. If we want that message transforms us, no? If it has to lead to a transformation, then it is very important that we hear from bona fide authorities, not from professional chanters. Then Mathura Vas, to reside in Mathura. So one can reside in Mathura or Vrindavan or any holy place. Now one may say, but because of my work or because of family or whatever reason, I am not able to reside in a dham. So then, wherever we are living, we can make that as a holy place by our practice. Wherever we are chanting the holy name, wherever we are worshipping the Lord, that place becomes a holy place. So we can make our homes into holy places and not make it a place for mundane activities, no, not for mundane parties and other mundane activities. Then 5, Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana, to worship the deity with faith and veneration. In the previous class, we saw how deities are, we saw some examples of how deities reciprocate to the devotee. So one should not think that the deity is wood or stone or metal. The deity is God. So worshipping the deity with faith and veneration. So these are the top 5 that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chooses out of the 64 items of devotional service. What are they? Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathura Vas, Sri Murtira, Shraddhaya, Sevana. And see, very interestingly, he put Sadhu Sangha before Nama Kirtan. Because if you have Sadhu Sangha, if you have association of devotees, then automatically you will chant the holy name. If you don't have devotee association, then how will you come to the level of chanting the holy name? So very, very important to associate with the right kind of people. And also keep a close eye. What are the kind of people our children are associating with, or our loved ones are associating with? Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never be forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be servants of these two principles. So there are so many rules and regulations, so many prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras, so many of them. But at the end of it, all those prohibitions, all those rules are servants to two principal rules. What are the two principal rules? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So these are the two golden rules. Therefore, Krishna is saying that always think of me. No? Here he says, fix your mind upon me. Engage all your intelligence in me. And if you can't do that, then you put it into practice. Practice sadhana bhakti so that you can come to that level of fixing your mind upon me. So the whole thing boils down to all these rules and regulations are servants of two golden rules. Always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. In this shloka, you will see Krishna refers to Arjuna with the name Dhananjaya. So why the name Dhananjaya? As Arjuna obtained riches by fighting, Krishna now requests Arjuna to fight his mind and obtain the wealth of remembrance upon him. So remembering Krishna is the greatest wealth. Narayana Smriti. If we can come to the level of Narayana Smriti constantly, then that is the success of our spiritual life. See, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he composed very nice bhajans. And he writes in one of his bhajans this line, Golokera Prema Dhana, Hari Nama Sankirtana. The treasure of divine love in Golok Vrindavan has descended as a congregational chanting of Lord Hari's holy names. So Golokera, from Goloka, this Harinam Sankirtan, this treasure, no, Prema Dhana, this treasure from Goloka has come in the form of Harinam Sankirtan, in the form of the chanting of the holy names of Lord Hari. So one must not think that chanting is an ordinary activity. It is the number one item that should be on our priority list, chanting of the holy name. Golokera Prema Dhana Harinama Sankirtana. Of course, how will we get this Prem Dhan, how will we get this holy name? Is by the association of the devotees. So, because we're talking about Srila Narottam Das Thakur, I was just reading and I thought I would add this as although it's a little bit out of the context, I mean, out of the syllabus, but very, very interesting, his disappearance pastime. No? So, how did Narottam Das Thakur leave this body? Narottam Das Thakur asked his disciples to take him to the Ganges and pour the water on his body with their bare hands. While bathing, they saw his skin turn white and it started to melt. Touched by the water of the Ganges, his body was turning into milk and was thus merging into the Ganges. They saw their Gurudev was getting smaller, slowly melting away. While bathing him, their hearts ached in pain and they were shedding tears, but they could not stop. Because their Guru had ordered them, they had to follow the order of their Guru. As they were pouring water on his body merging into the Ganges, there were more tears than milk as the disciples watched their Guru pass away in front of their eyes. It was just milk and tears flowing on and on as an offering unto Mother Ganga until finally he disappeared. So see, such great personalities, Narottam Das Thakur, just see how he has left his body, how he disappeared. So when such great acharyas, when they write something, they are not going to write some fiction or they're not going to write something to mislead us. So Imagine he is saying, Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Golokera Prema Dhana, Hari Nama Sankirtan. So this chanting of Lord Hari's holy name is the treasure of divine love that has descended from Golok. It has descended from Goloka. It's a transcendental sound vibration. It is not a material sound vibration. If somebody is going to chant something material, if let's say somebody is chanting Coca-Cola, say let's somebody say Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. How long can he do that? He cannot do that for long because it's a material sound vibration. But when it is a spiritual sound vibration, immediately you are able to connect to the Lord, to the transcendental realm, to Krishna. It is your connection. Chanting of the holy name is your quality time with Krishna. Krishna is not different from his name. When we chant, Krishna is there. He is present in that name. So we need to prioritize chanting. So then what happened? The disciples took that milk mixed with tears and Ganga water and put it in a big pot and brought it to a place near Kheturi where Narottam Das Thakur lived and built a beautiful samadhi for him. To this day, the samadhi is there. It is called Doodh Samadhi, the samadhi of milk. So you can, if you go to Kheturi, which is in modern day Bangladesh, then you can visit the samadhi of Narottam Das Thakur. Okay, so verses 8 and 9 deal primarily with engaging our mind, the chief of our internal senses. Because in 8, Krishna says that you engage your mind in me, use all your intelligence in me. And in 9, he said, if you're not able to do that without deviation, then you practice sadhana bhakti. So we are practicing, we are trying to put into practice of how we can control the mind. No? So both of them are dealing with our mind, the chief of the internal senses. Now, if we can't even do that, then what to do? Krishna also gives us the solution to that. Let us hear the shloka.
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि.
Translation. If you cannot practice the regulation of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Now Krishna is saying, okay, you cannot even practice the regulative principles. You cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga. So then what to do? Work for me. So if you can't use your mind, then use your external senses. You work for me. You work, but you work for me. What is that? You give the results to Krishna. You do your work, use your external senses, do the work, but give the results to me, Krishna is saying. So if you cannot practice regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, try to work for me. And is there any result we get by working for Krishna?
Yes, we'll come to the perfect stage.
We will come to the perfect stage. So, okay, now Krishna is saying, you work for me, give the results to me. So what is this actually? This is Nishkama Karma Yoga. No, you engage in karma, but Nishkama, don't expect any results because you give the results to Krishna. So if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then you practice working for Krishna, and because of that, you will come to the perfect stage. You will come to the perfect stage. Now somebody may say that, oh, but I cannot even give the results to Krishna. Then what to do? Anyway, before that, let's see some points from the purport. How to perform work for Krishna, sympathetic to propagation to Krishna consciousness. Every endeavor needs land, capital, organization, labor, like any other business. So one can help build a temple, or one can help in the publication of books. Like that, you're working, but you're giving the results to Krishna. So if one cannot sacrifice results of all his activities, at least sacrifice some percentage of the results, at least something we can do. We may not be able to build one huge temple, but we can sponsor at least one tile in the temple. No? So like that, some percentage of the results, at least we should be able to give to Krishna. So if you cannot practice sadhana bhakti, which is in 12.9, then engage all your external senses for working for Krishna. And what is the benefit? You will come to the perfect stage. Verse 10 refers to engaging our external senses in Krishna's service if we cannot engage the mind. Even if we are unable to think of Krishna, we can make progress by working for him. This platform is called Nishkama Karma Yoga, which we already discussed. Now, if we are not even able to give our results to Krishna, then what to do? Let's see what Krishna says.
अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यथात्मवान्.
Translation. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated.
So if you cannot give the results to Krishna, then Krishna says, try to act giving up all results of your work. But Krishna is not saying to whom. He's not saying to me. See, he's saying try to act giving up all results of your work. So that means try to engage in philanthropic activities, some humanitarian work, some charitable work, some charity, and try to be self-situated. Now, is there any result that Krishna says you get by engaging in this activity? Is there any result here?
No.
No, there is no result. Why? Because one can go on doing philanthropic activities, sponsoring an orphanage or an old age home or a hospital. So it is good that one is not attached to one's wealth. But because it's not a devotional activity, there is no substantial result that one can get. One can go on doing this for millions of lifetimes, but still remain in the cycle of birth and death. Still remain in the cycle of birth and death. So there is no spiritual benefit. Therefore, see here, Krishna is not mentioning any benefit that one gets by engaging in those activities by just giving up all the results of the work. But still, Krishna is giving this as a last option. Why? Because by doing this, it purifies our mind. It helps us to learn some detachment. We are getting detached from our wealth. It will purify our mind. And when the mind is purified and when one is in a detached state of mind, then one is in a more favorable condition for bhakti. One is setting the scene, one is setting the stage, one is in a more favorable frame of mind to be able to engage in devotional activities. Another thing that can possibly happen is if let's say somebody has opened a hospital and by chance a devotee, a Vaishnava comes to that hospital and receives treatment. Now that person is receiving Agyata Sukriti. He is engaged in devotional service, but unknowingly. He didn't have the intention of opening the hospital to serve the Vaishnavas. So, but because he has unknowingly served a Vaishnava, unknowingly rendered service to the Vaishnava, therefore now he gets what is called as Agyata Sukriti. Unknowingly he has engaged in devotional service. Devotional service means serving the Lord and his Vaishnavas and his devotees. So this is what Krishna is saying here, that if you are not able to give the results of the work to me, then give up the results of your work and try to be self-situated. So this way, but here Krishna is not mentioning any result as we mentioned, but it will help us to purify our mind and make it more favorable to receive or engage in bhakti. One may be unable to sympathize for Krishna conscious acts because of social, familial, religious considerations or any other impediments. So what is the hope or recommendation for them? Krishna says, sacrifice the accumulated results to some good cause. Such procedures are given in the Vedic rules, many yagyas, many functions of punya, etc. So opening hospitals and all these charitable works, etc. will help you get punya karmas. Punya karmas will help you go to heaven, but it will not take you out of the material world. It will not take you all the way to spiritual realm. How that will help? One may gradually elevate to the state of knowledge, because one can see that by giving away by being detached, then one is more peaceful. One is more, it purifies the mind. One is developing detachment. So practical examples, charity to hospitals, social institutions, such sacrifices of hard-earned results purify the mind, and one can gradually understand Krishna consciousness. So when the mind is pure, then it's more receptive to be able to understand Krishna consciousness. In text 8 to 11, the spiritual results of each recommended practice have been described. By thinking of Krishna, as described in text 8, we will always live with Krishna. By following the regulative principles of bhakti, as mentioned in text 9, we will develop our desire to attain Krishna. By working for Krishna, as described in text 10, we will come to the perfect stage. No result, however, has been mentioned for following the practice Krishna recommends in text 11. The practice of giving up the fruits of work, unless those fruits are offered to Krishna, is not in and of itself spiritual, and it therefore does not yield spiritual fruit. Because it does not give any spiritual fruit, therefore Krishna is not mentioning any result that one obtains by engaging in giving up the fruits of the work in text 11. Now let's see what Krishna says in 12.
श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ज्ञानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम्.
Translation. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation. And better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of the action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind.
So if you cannot take to this practice, now this practice does not refer to what Krishna spoke in 11. Okay, this practice here, when Krishna says, if you cannot take to this practice, he's referring to what he spoke in 10. Okay, where he's saying that you work for me. So Krishna is saying, if you cannot work for me, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. So which yoga system is this? Bhakti yoga, Jnana yoga, Dhyana yoga, Karma yoga?
Dhyana yoga.
Cultivation of knowledge.
Jnana yoga.
Jnana yoga. Okay. So then what Krishna is saying, but better than knowledge, however, is meditation. So better than Jnana yoga is which yoga?
Dhyana yoga.
Dhyana yoga. Now better than Dhyana yoga is which yoga?
Karma yoga.
Karma yoga, renunciation of the fruits of action. No, so that is karma yoga. So Krishna is saying that you can engage yourself in Jnana yoga, but better than Jnana is Dhyana. Better than Dhyana is karma. And why is karma yoga better than Dhyana and Jnana is because by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. One can attain peace of mind. See, let us try to. So this practice, one second, I'm getting some. Okay. This practice refers to the following of the principles of Krishna consciousness as recommended in text 12.10. Then engage yourself in cultivation of knowledge. Knowledge here refers to Brahmanyana, knowledge of soul different from the body. Better than knowledge is meditation, yogic meditation by which one realizes the super soul. So of course, when one engages, we have discussed these yoga systems in detail. When one engages in Dhyana yoga, one attains the Paramatma realization. Better than meditation is a renunciation of the fruits of action. Why? Because one will attain peace of mind. See, if one does some work, but is not hankering for the results, one is not worried about the results, whether it will be in my favor, whether it will be not in my favor, then one goes through some anxiety. Like a student gives an exam. And until the results of the exam don't come, then there is anxiety. How many marks will I get? Will I pass? Will I get the required result? Will I get what I deserve? So there is anxiety, or one makes an investment in business. Until you don't see the returns, there is anxiety. But when you give away the results, you do your work, but the results you give away, then you are not in anxiety, then you are peaceful. So Krishna is saying that what is the benefit of such renunciation? One attains peace of mind. One attains peace of mind. So here you can see the stages that Krishna takes us through. In text 8, he's talking about complete absorption. Fix your mind upon me. Engage all your intelligence in me. So complete absorption. If you can't engage in complete absorption, what is the next stage? Krishna saying, okay, you can't do that. Then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. So engage in sadhana bhakti. Now somebody may say, I can't do that also. Then Krishna says, okay, karma yoga. You give the results to me. Just try to work for me. Now here, from 10 to 12, we are connecting here because this, when Krishna says you cannot take to this practice, we already discussed this here refers to 10, okay, not what he said in text 11. So from Karma Yoga, Krishna is saying if you cannot do that, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. So we are putting Jnana Yoga here after Dhyana Yoga. Why? Because again Krishna is saying better than knowledge is meditation. So then Jnana Yoga comes one step down and we take Dhyana Yoga one step up. And then he is connecting here to Karma Yoga. Then he is coming back. Better than meditation, better than Dhyana Yoga is Karma Yoga. So better than meditation is the renunciation of the fruits of action. So see, you go from 8, 9, 10. From 10, you're connecting 12. And from 12, actually, he's going backward. From Jnana to Dhyana to Karma. This is how we understand this verse. And then finally is text 11. If you can't do any of this, then at least engage in some philanthropic activities, what he says in text 11. Now one may say when we did the yoga ladder, we had karma yoga down and we had jnana and ashtanga yoga or dhyana. Ashtanga yoga is nothing but dhyana yoga. So we had karma yoga down and then we had jnana yoga and then we had dhyana yoga and then we had bhakti yoga. But the sequence that we are seeing now is we have Krishna is saying that better than jnana yoga is dhyana yoga, better than dhyana yoga is karma yoga. So why is then karma yoga down here in this yoga ladder? So we have to understand that in this yoga ladder is designed in such a way that as we go higher and higher, there is more detachment and knowledge. As we go higher, the detachment is increasing and also the knowledge is increasing. But in terms of ease of practice, no, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga are not so practical, especially in Kali Yoga. It's very, very hard. As we discussed, Jnana Yoga, you have to leave the house, go to the forest, and then engage in meditation, try to raise the consciousness from the lower chakras to the higher chakras in Dhyana Yoga. So it takes many, many lifetimes of practice, many, many lifetimes of practice. So Karma Yoga is much more easier to practice and therefore it will give results. As we engage in Karma Yoga, first Sakama Karma Yoga, we are doing work expecting something in return. But as we engage in Sakama Karma Yoga, slowly, slowly we will come to the level of Nishkama Karma Yoga, where we are working without expecting any results. We are leaving the results to Krishna. So therefore, then from Nishkama Karma Yoga, we can go to Bhakti Yoga. That is the accelerated process in this yoga ladder. That's why we have this difference in these two sequences here. Why renunciation of fruits is mentioned as better than meditation. Although Karma Yoga is the lowest on the yoga ladder, Krishna says that it is better than meditation because it is more practical and it does not disturb the mind with harsh and impractical requirements for renunciation. Therefore, Krishna is saying Karma Yoga is better than Dhyana Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu explains, Sri Krishna is extending the mercy lower and lower. For example, if a person is in a dry well and someone gives him rope and says that you stretch yourself, stand on your toes and catch the rope and I will pull you out. But the person says, I cannot do this. Then the person lowers the rope even more and says, just raise your arms and catch the rope. Still the person says, oh, I cannot do that also. Then he says, okay, I will lower the rope further. Just tie the rope around your waist and I will pull you out. So you see how Krishna is giving this progression very, very mercifully. He's saying, okay, you can't do the best, then you do the next best. If you can't do the next best, then you do the next best. Okay, but do something at least. Little bit, we have to come out of our comfort zone. We have to come out of our comfort zone. If we say that, oh, I want to continue doing what I'm doing, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to follow the regulator principles, I don't want to engage in sadhana bhakti, I don't want to offer my food, I don't want to be a vegetarian, I don't want any restrictions of fasting or chanting and so many other things, then we will not be able to make progress. Then we will continue to remain in the cycle of birth and death. So it's very important that we come out of our comfort zone. Little bit, we have to come out of our comfort zone, come out in our stretch zone. It is called stretch. No, we have to stretch ourselves. Coming out of the comfort zone, we come to the stretch zone where we put in that little bit of extra effort. Little bit of extra effort we have to put in to make progress. Now, in putting in that extra effort, let us not come to the panic zone. Panic zone means we take up so much service that then finally we will crash and we will not be able to go the long way and reach the finishing line. We will not be able to continue it for the rest of our life. For example, somebody may say, oh, from today onwards, I'm going to chant 64 rounds. That is very nice, very fantastic, as long as it lasts, no? As long as you can do it. If you have the capacity, there are people who chant 64 rounds every day. But if one has that capacity, if you have built up that kind of stamina, that capacity, then yes, very nice. But if you are on 0 rounds, and one day you say, I'm going to chant 64 rounds, you may not be able to take it all the way for the rest of your life. So we have to come out of our comfort zone to our stretch zone. But let's not go to the panic zone. We have to progress slowly, baby steps. But yes, we have to make progress. Let's not remain at the same level for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. No. Come out of your comfort zone to your stretch zone, but don't go into panic zone. That is intelligence. Now we come to the next level. The next section, where Krishna is talking about the qualities that make one very dear to Krishna. This is the last section of this chapter. And with this, hopefully we will finish the chapter. So 13 and 14 are clubbed together. Let's hear the shlokas.
Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitrah karuna eva cha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukha kshami santuштah satatam yogi yatatma dridha nischayah mayyarpita mano buddhihi yo madbhaktas same priyah.
Translation. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me.
So what are the qualities that one has that makes one dear to Krishna? Krishna is saying Adveshta, one who is non-envious. Sarva Bhutanam, towards all the living entities. He is friendly, Maitra. Then he says Karuna. Karuna means he is very, very kind, very compassionate. Nirmama, he has no sense of proprietorship. He thinks that everything belongs to Krishna. He doesn't say that this is mine. No sense of proprietorship. Then Nir Ahankara, he has no Ahankar. He has no false ego. He has no identity of the material concepts. No, he's not thinking that I am this body, I am man, I am woman. These are all false ego. All these material identifications are false egos. Then he says that such a person is Sama Dukha Sukha. He is equipoised. He is equal in distress as well as in happiness. Such a person is Shami. He is forgiving. He is Santushta. He is satisfied. Whatever Krishna sends, he says, okay, this is Krishna's mercy. Although it may externally, it may not seem favorable for him, but whatever Krishna sends, he is satisfied. Then what does Krishna say? Santushta Satatam Yogi. He is always satisfied under all circumstances. Then Yatatma, he is self-control. And because he is self-control, he controls his mind, body, and senses. He is Dhrida Nishaya, he is determined. No, because he is self-control, he also has the determination. And then finally, what Krishna says, Mai Arpita Mano Buddhir. What is that Mai Arpita Mano Buddhir? He engages in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence is fixed on me. Mai Arpita, on me, he has fixed up what? His mana and his buddhi, his mind and his intelligence. So his mind and intelligence is fixed on me. Then Krishna says, Yo mad bhakta same priyaha. Such a devotee is very dear to me. Same priyaha. Priyaha means dear. So a person who has these qualities, a devotee who has these qualities, Krishna says, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Now let's see what he says next. He is giving more qualities in 15.
Yasmanno dvijate loko lokanno dvijate chayah harsha marsha bhayodvegair mukto yah sacha me priyah.
Translation. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me.
So he by whom no one is put into difficulty. Na udvijate. Those devotees who are by whom no one is put into difficulty, and neither is he disturbed by anybody else. Okay. So he by whom no one is put into difficulty, and he who is not disturbed by anybody else, who is equipoised, who is equipoised in what? Harsha and amarsa, in happiness and distress, and who's also equipoised in anxiety and fear, bhaya and udvega. Then such a person, sa cha me priyaha, sa cha me priyaha, such a person is very dear to me, Krishna is saying. So he's mentioning more qualities here. A person who is not put into difficulty by anybody else, or he doesn't allow anybody else to put him into difficulty, or he doesn't get put out by anybody else, by any external factors or any external person. And he also doesn't disturb anybody else. He who's equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, such a person, Krishna says, sa cha me priyaha, such a person is very dear to me. Now he mentions more qualities.
Anapeksha shuchirdaksha udasino gatavyatah sarvarambha parityagi yo madbhaktasya me priyah.
Translation. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me.
So what are more qualities that Krishna is mentioning? One who is neutral, anapekshaha, one who is neutral. He's not say if he has, for example, if he is endeavoring to build a temple, so sometimes there is support, sometimes there are donations coming, sometimes it is not coming. So irrespective of what is happening around him, he is neutral. Then he is suchi, he is pure. He is pure both internally as well as externally. Daksha, he is expert. He is expert in the Shastras. He is expert in his understanding, in his knowledge that yes, I am an eternal servant of Krishna. Then Udasina, he is free from care. He doesn't favor or disfavor anybody or any person or anything. So he is free from care. Then Gatavyata, he is free from all distress. He doesn't allow anything to distress him. Whatever comes, he takes it as the mercy of Krishna. Then Sarva Arambha Parityagi. He is not striving for any result. because he is not attached to the results. Then such a person, Krishna says, Yomat Bhakta Sa Me Priyaha. Such a person is very dear to me.
यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः.
Translation. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments and nor desire, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me.
So he's mentioning more qualities here. Na harshyati na dveshti. He does not take pleasure, nor is he grieving. Na sochati na kankshati. He is not lamenting, nor is he deriding. Then shubha ashubha parityagi. He is renouncing everything that is auspicious and inauspicious. Bhaktiman. Such a devotee, ya sa me priyaha. Such a devotee is very dear to me, Krishna is saying. So many of these qualities he is repeating. And there is this repetition because he wants to what do you call it? I'm not getting the right word.
Krishna wants to make us perfect.
He wants to reiterate more. No, though he's making us focus more on the qualities that one should have as a devotee and the qualities that will make us dear to Krishna. 18 and 19 are again clubbed together.
समः शत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः.
Translation. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me.
So one who is equal, no, sama. Sama means he is equal to whom? Shatru cha, mitre cha. He is equal to both his enemies as well as his friends. And he's always also equal in times of mana and apamana. No, when somebody glorifies him and even when somebody insults him, still he is equal. Then he's also equal when Sito and Usnaf during summer and winter seasons. And also he's equal during Sukha and Dukkha. So whenever there is happiness and distress, also he is equal. Sama Sangha Vivarjitaha. Sangha Vivarjataha, he is bad, he is free from bad or contaminating association. Then more qualities in 19. He says, Tulya Ninda Stutir Mauni. He is equal in Ninda and in Stuti. He is equal in criticism as well as during praise. If somebody praises him, somebody criticizes him, also he is equal. Then Mauni. Mauni means silent. What does that mean? Silent does not mean a devotee never speaks. A devotee never speaks unnecessary stuff. He does not speak any crap. Only whenever he speaks only to glorify the Lord, to glorify the devotees of the Lord. Mauni. Santushto. He is very, very satisfied with anything. Santushto yena kenachid. He is satisfied with anything that comes his way. Aniketaha. Having no residence. Having no residence means he does not care for a particular residence. If he is living in a cottage, if he is living on the road, if Krishna keeps him in a palace, he is still the same. Aniketaha. So he has no fixed, he doesn't care for any residence. Then Sthira matir. He is fixed and he is determined. Then again he uses here Bhaktiman. Bhaktiman means he engages in devotional services. Such a person, me priyo naraha. Such a person, me priyo is very dear to me, Krishna says. Now last shloka. of the chapter and of the day.
ये तु धर्मामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्दधाना मत्परमा भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः।
Translation. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me with supreme goal, are very, very dear to me.
So long what qualities Krishna was mentioning, Krishna was saying such devotees are very dear to me. But now Krishna is saying, he is mentioning some qualities and he's saying such devotees are very, very dear to me. So what can make us very, very dear to Krishna? If we follow the imperishable path of devotional service. So just by engaging in devotional service, we become very, very dear to Krishna. Those who completely engage themselves with faith, with Shraddha, making me the supreme goal, mat parama. So if we make Krishna the supreme goal with faith, so if we follow the path of devotional service and engage ourselves with faith and make Krishna the supreme goal, then Krishna says, such devotees, bhaktas te ativa me priya, ativa, so very, very dear. So such devotees are very, very dear to Krishna. So this is how Krishna ends this particular chapter. So all these qualities fall in two categories, essential and ancillary, Swarupa Lakshanam and Tathastha Lakshanam. All the qualities mentioned are ancillary except the most important, Bhaktiman, devotional service to the Lord. So devotional service is the essential quality. All other qualities, all these other ancillary qualities, they automatically manifest in a person who's engaged in devotional service. See, automatically, if you're engaged in devotional service, you will learn detachment, you will not be perturbed, you will be equal in criticism and distress, you will be equal to your enemies and friends. So all these other qualities will come by default to anyone who is engaged in devotional service. We don't have to artificially endeavor to develop these other qualities. We don't have to do that. It will automatically come if we are engaging in devotional service. See here, this very nice verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. All the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So imagine if one is engaged in pure bhakti, then all the devatas and the exalted qualities of the devatas become manifest in the body of that person. What a powerful statement. Let me read that again. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? So see, if one is engaged in pure devotional service, the devatas and their exalted qualities become manifest in the body of that devotee. On the other hand, if a person is not engaged in devotional service, he is engaged in material activities, then such a person is considered to have no good qualities. Even if he is very expert in mystic yoga, even if he is very expert in maintaining his family and relatives, still there can be no good qualities in such a man. In the pulpit, Srila Prabhupada writes, in this chapter from verse 2 through the end, from Mai Avesha Mano Ye Mam, fixing the mind on me, through Yetu Dharmamratam Idam, this religion of eternal engagement, the Supreme Lord has explained the process of transcendental service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question is, who is better? One who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the Personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you want to know Krishna, if you want to attain Krishna, if you want to reach Krishna, if you want to love Krishna, there is only one way: bhakti, bhakti, bhakti. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Conclusion: Krishna is satisfied only by devotion, never by material qualities. Bhakti is the most efficacious method of spiritual advancement. One engaged in bhakti yoga exhibits transcendental qualities which mark him as a devotee. The Lord is pleased with such a devotee. So here we have the verse by verse summary of this chapter, which you can read when I share the slides in the group. With that, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we come to the end of chapter number 12. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Do we have any questions or comments? And there is pin drop silence. Okay, so if there are no questions or comments, we will see you in the next class if Krishna so sanctions. In the next class, we will try to summarize the middle 6 chapters, like how we did when we finished the first 6 chapters. We had a summary class. So in the next class, we'll try to summarize the middle 6 chapters. And after that, we will start with chapter number 13. Now, please remember that now we are going to pick up speed. We are going to press the accelerator. Because the last section of the Bhagavad Gita goes faster. The last section of the Bhagavad Gita has relatively shorter chapters. No, it has relatively shorter chapters. So we will be progressing faster, which means the exams are going to come more frequently than before. You may not have so much time between 2 exams because the chapters are much shorter. Okay. So hopefully we will try and finish the Bhagavad Gita. And we will say the middle 6 sections are the climax of the Bhagavad Gita. Normally, if you read a book or a novel or you watch a movie, the climax is always at the end, no? But in Bhagavad Gita, the climax is in the middle itself. Now we have finished the climax. Now what is there next to what next is going to happen? What more Krishna is going to say? What more is Arjuna going to ask? And what is going to hold our interest now after the climax has already been revealed? No, but Krishna, he is expert. No, he's most expert. Even though the climax has already been revealed, still he retains the interest of the audience. That is the expertise of Krishna. That is the genius of Krishna. So that we will see when we start chapter number 13 in 2 weeks from now. But next weekend, as I said, we will see the summary of the middle 6 chapters. Till then, have a nice weekend and a nice weekend Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarovyaschа kripa sindhu vyayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita jai.
Jai.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Jai. Thank
Thank
you.
so
Hare
much.
Krishna, Dharapana Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Dhanyavad Pranam. Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, will you share the notes today?
Yes, I always do at post the class.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.